Hi folks, how you doing out there? So, Reza Studios recently released for Automobilista 2 update 1.2.4.1 and the biggest thing that came with that, of course, is Monza and all of the historical variants of it, and it's brilliant. So I wanted to do a quick video just discussing, you know, the state of the game at the moment, what's going on with the AI, and have a look at Monza. And we're going to have a look at Monza specifically, but there's going to be a lot to do with AI. This video is going to be about, I think, because it concerns that in a way, and also the damage system as well. Now we're actually on version 1.2.4.2 now, because they've already patched it. There were some pretty major problems with the AI at Monza, but they've patched it once, it's sorted that out. It's still a little bit iffy, but they've got another patch on the way, as I know. This is in beta testing at the moment, and I have every faith that, you know, they'll be sorting that out with that patch. So let's just go quickly and have a look at what we've got now. Monza, is it worth buying? Now, I've got the season pass, so I got it immediately, because obviously if you've got the season pass, it pays for everything up until 2021, I think. 2022 rather. But if you want to buy Monza by itself, it's about $7.99. Is it worth it? Well, let's just have a look. You've got the brand new, modern, updated version of bang up to date Monza. You also have Monza Junior. You've also got historic 1971 Monza. You have, let's have a look here, you've got 1991 Monza, brilliant, 1971 Monza Junior, and then you have the Monza Historic with the huge bank curbs from 1971, the 10k version with both chicanes, before the entrances to the big bank curbs, and you have also a version with no chicanes. So yeah, for $7.99, I'd say that you get a fair bang for your buck. So anyway, there's so much to look at. I'm only going to be able to focus on one thing at the moment, so we're going to have a look at Monza, the bang up to date version. Now, I thought, what car should we, you know, test Monza with? Well, we've recently had the F1 there. It's also got 2 DRS zones, although they're not shown on the track map as, say, they would be if you go to Hockenheim. It shows you where the DRS zones are. They've not put that on the track map yet. I'm sure that will be updated. We're going to go there, but I thought, you know, let's get a car as close to a modern F1 car as we can. And, you know, I thought Formula Ultimate, you know, it's a V6, closest thing we can get to it. So I want to go for a race there and show you what an actual race is like there. If you want to walk through of the track, just to see the track, go and have a look at Steelcast 27's videos. He's done a lovely walkthrough. But this is going to be an actual race there. So, just for your reference, here are my rules and regulations. I've been strict on myself with track warnings. Third strike, and you know, you're going to go into the pits for a drive-through. These are my opponent settings. I've only got my skill level set at 92 because, well, I don't drive F1 cars a lot, especially proper full-on F1 cars, because I'm 42, my reactions aren't all they used to be. But I've got to tell you, I've really been enjoying them at this track. In fact, I have not enjoyed Monza, because I'm not Monza's biggest fan, but I have not enjoyed Monza like this since, I think, GTR2. This is brilliant. You'll notice I've got my aggression at 0, and there's a very good reason for that. And of course, we're using same class. We've got 19 opponents. That's going to give us 20 on track. I'm going to be running just with one normal weather slot, you know, peak conditions. And also, I'm going to run a little qualifying session. And you might be thinking, well, why would you bother with that with a, you know, with one of these videos? Well, there's a very good reason for that too. And it's really important. So, that's all my settings. Anything else I need to show you? I don't think so. So, let's go. Right, so whilst the track is loading up, let me tell you why I'm going to run a qualifying session. Oh, and by the way, and this is very important as well, I am using full damage, and also I'm using the new damage scaling function, which is brought in, you know, in the last build. I'm using that at 200%. so as close to reality as possible. I love the new damage system. It has a few oddities which I'm sure are going to be worked on, much like the AI for this track and different bits, but just the way this sim is coming together, it's just getting better and better and better. But the reason I'm running a qualifying session is because I have found that if you, especially now with the AI having different personalities, that sort of thing, if you don't run a qualifying session, everything gets a bit mixed up. You have slower drivers behind faster drivers. It causes crashes, and especially with 200% damage, you don't want that, because it ends up with lots of cars going into the pits. Also, the AI around this track need a bit of tweaking. So, for instance, with the GT3s, they, when the track first came out, version 0.1, they were smoking their tyres going around the Parabolica and at Ascari and just coming off all over the place. With 0.2, the patch that they brought out, they're not doing that around the Parabolica now, and they are better around Ascari, although they're still coming off there. But I'm sure that will be seen to. So, yeah, what I would suggest you do, if you want to have a really good race, run a qualifying session. You can skip to the end, but I would actually recommend letting it run for 10 minutes, go and do your qualifying. And you will get a much better race. So, whilst I'm letting the qualifying session run, let's go and take the car for a quick drive. Get our pit limiter on. Look at this. Really, just really detailed, really gorgeous version of Monza. I'm going to have to shout a bit because this car's bloody loud. Oh, and by the way, I've got crew chief running, so you're going to hear Jim in the background. That car's just gone through me. It's because we're on a qualifying lap. It lets the sim lets that happen. But look at this with the autumnal foliage as well. It's one of the other amazing things about automobilism. You've got, you know, all year round seasons. It's fantastic. The curbs here, these sausage curbs, really do what they're supposed to. You don't want to be hitting them in a car like this. It will very much unsettle them. Think of Max Verstappen and Lewis when they got a bit mixed up at Retifalo, the first chicane. I'm going to let this guy through because he's on a qualifying lap, and the AI do tend to be quite aggressive on qualifying laps. Talking of aggression, the reason I've got my aggression down at 0 is that these cars are delicate, and the higher the aggression, the more aggressive moves they'll make, the more chance of a crash. And that's okay when you've got much stronger cars using 200% damage, like say the Coke Classics, you know, tin top hatchbacks with, you know, full bodies. But when you've got cars like this, you don't want another car just touching your wing. It'll, you know, break bits off. You can see down here in the right hand corner in green, there is all of my damage, so you can watch that through the race. But yeah, you really don't want any touches in a car like this. So if you're going to run a race like I'm doing with 200% damage, these cars, I'd highly recommend aggression down to 0. Now someone told me, I think it was on Reddit in reply to one of my last videos, which was a race that I did with 200% damage when the 200% damage first came out, that the AI aggression set slider doesn't work like that. It's more of an AI intelligence slider, and actually they crash, you know, they're better drivers at 100%. I thought that at first, but it's not quite right, because I was thinking, well, this AI aggression slider isn't doing anything, because I'd start a race at 100, there'd be a big crash. I'd start it at 0, there might be a big crash. But what I've found is, and one of the things I love about Automobilista 2 is every race, every single race, even if you just restart a race, is different. No two races are the same in this sim. I absolutely love that. And you might get a race where there's no matter what your settings are, you might get a race that starts off with a huge pile-up on maybe the second lap, have another race, and it's completely clean. So what I've had to do to figure out if this aggression slider works or not is set it to 0, have several races, and get an average of what happens, and then set it to 100, and do several races and get an average of what happens. And if you leave it at 0, I promise you, with cars like this, you'll get a much cleaner race. That's not to say we might not have a terrifying race with lots of crashing and all that sort of thing, because I don't know, as I said, every race is different. I don't know how this particular race is going to go. Anyway, let's park up, and you can just see how beautiful this track is. Also, by the way, if you haven't bought the track yet, if you go online into the multiplayer system, if someone's running Monza, you can then go and use it. You don't have it, so you can't use it offline, but you can go and use it. That's another wonderful thing that Reza have done. Allow people to jump onto tracks that they don't have. So, let's return to our pit box now. Let's see, they're doing 122s at highest. I'm going to start from the back of the grid deliberately. You'll see why. All will become clear. As I said earlier, I'm running crew chief deliberately so I can hear what's going on around the track, so you guys can get... Jim's going to let us know exactly what's happening around the track, so if anyone pits, anyone comes off, we'll know about it. Right, with, let's see, every car I think has set a time, so I think we can happily skip to the end now. I would recommend running up the full 10 minutes, but we can skip to the end. And let's see how we get on. We're at 200% damage.
14 minutes. You'll need to get on with this.
And we've got 15 minutes of racing to go. Let's have at it.
15 minutes. You really need to get
on with this. I'm going to hang back at the start.
Stay calm. Focus.
First lap.
Green.
I just want to see how many cars get picked off. As in how many collisions there are, how many pit. So, here we go. The first chicane. Tiflo. Now you can see some of the cars there, they're 3 wide, so they're going over the sausage curves, but very slowly. They've no one's made oh, a little bit of contact up there. One car's a little bit of a slide. Not uncommon at Monza. I do find these cars as well, you really have to learn how to drive them. So coming up to our second chicane. Everyone's got through nice and safely. And I'm way behind, I better speed up. Told you I'm not brilliant at driving these things, but I will speed up. DRS obviously not yet available. So here we come to Ascari. These cars around here don't seem to have any problem with Ascari. Like I said, the GT3's still a bit of a problem there. So we've got 20 cars on track. Let's see how many of them have made it through. Anyone going to pit? Yes, we've got 1 car pitting, 2 cars pitting. So we've lost 2 cars, and that's probably the 2 cars that came together just after the first chicane there. Pretty well behaved so far. This track is gorgeous. Just another thing to talk about, because I'm going to put the replay cameras in here, so you'll see the race from my perspective and also from the TV cameras. Little things about, you know, the state of the game. There's still problems with, you know, camber not always being shown correctly in replays. There are still problems with these cars. You'll see in the replays, you go around a corner and the tyre squidges like it's flat. You know, too much, if you like. So that's a thing. But it's a small thing compared to how much is being improved in this sim. Now, we're on our second lap.
The leader has just done a 22.92.
And I've gone into that corner way too fast on the entry. We've got another car pitting. So obviously there's been maybe some slight contact there. But not too bad so far. Remember, we are on 200% damage.
0.86.
So any little touch. And it's going to result in cars pitting. But that's how I like it. Like I said, I absolutely love this 200% damage. I hope it does get some refinement. You know, there's still slight oddities about it, but in general, it's. I do think Automobilista at the moment, out of all of the major sims, has some of the best damage. You know, obviously not like BMWG, but BMWG at the moment is a fully fledged racing sim. I'm comparing this to, say, R Factor 2, AC, ACC, Second Quarter Competizione, if you like. Ah, we've got DRS, let's activate that.
Cold tyres all round.
It's allowed us to catch up with this fella here a little bit. But then didn't make a very good job of Ascari there, and he's got away again. Now here we come to the Parabolica. And right, no cars pitting. So DRS activated. Through we go. Hard on the brakes.
Come on, Paul. Good stuff. Keep it coming.
AA behaving nicely behind us. Like I said, you've got to learn how to use these cars because they're F1 cars, and this game simulates F1 cars as well as many other things. But if you jump into a race and you
10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes
slow
left.
down ridiculously in front of them or brake way too hard when they're not expecting it, they are going to go into the back of you. But then again, that would happen in a real life F1 race.
Pressured. Keep your exit speed
Because
up.
if you stuck a driver in there who didn't know how to use the car and someone did that, the other drivers wouldn't be expecting that. Kind of like if you take a drummer who's only ever played a straight 4/4 beat and then put him in a jazz band playing really fast jazz in, you know, 7/8. Sometimes it's like that, the whole band's going to fall apart around them because they're not going to know how to do it. And this car behind us now, I'm trying to keep him out of my slipstream. Going to hold him off around the Parabolica. Yes, indeed. I've got to say, I am absolutely... I have never had this much fun at Monza. It looks great, and he's using his DRS. I just saw his wing open. Through he goes. Oh! Good overtake by the AI there. So as you can see, as long as you let them run a qualifying session, and especially with the F1 cars because they're delicate, lower the AI aggression. Obviously, if you, like I said, if you were using tin tops which are quite a bit stronger, then you can higher that. Even at 200%, you can raise that aggression slider and let them be more aggressive, let them drive more like banger racers, and you can get away with a lot more. But with these cars, you keep it low because one little touch and you're in the pits or out of the race. And we've got DRS, and I totally forgot to use it. I've just activated that there, but a bit too late. I've almost got the back of him. So can you have a good race here at Monza is the question. With it in its current build? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it's only going to get better with that next patch that's coming along. Oh, and our DRS is becoming activated again. Can I get on it in time? So yellow at the moment, wait for it to go orange, and there it is. Just activated it now in green, and we are now catching up. Going to swing out to the middle and brake really hard.
Distance, fuel looks good.
Oh, locked up! Now I've locked up in front of the AI there, made a mistake, and he's managed to avoid us. So yeah, they are good, and they're going to get better. GT3s need a bit of work on the AI front around here. Like I said, they come off way too easily at Ascari, under their own volition as well. You don't need to be beside them. They'll just smoke their rear tyres. And
The gap behind is now 0.33.
thank you, Jim. I've totally been ignoring Jim all the way through this. Crew Chief. Crew Chief is a wonderful app. Go on Google.
Okay, Paul, don't let this guy distract you.
Have a look for Crew Chief. It works with most sims. And he's got a better exit out of Ascari there. But still managed to hold him off. Got DRS ready to be activated. This is so fast. Going back to GT3s after driving these cars, just everything feels so slow. I've activated my DRS. There we go. Oh, and I've just not broke quite late enough to the corner. Now we're going through 2x2. I've got to let him through there because I was just half a car's length behind. I had to let him through and it's all happened cleanly, but I've got a terrible exit. Just under 6 minutes to go. Now, another thing that I've just reminded myself of, I was about to mention how good this looks in the rain as well. Because little details like these curbs down here, those kind of sunken curbs,
2.2.
they fill up with water as you'd expect. Not totally, because there's obviously drainage there, but it's fantastic in the rain as well. I love the castle there, or I'm not quite sure what that's called, but there are some slight performance issues with this track. I have found in the rain a couple of times I've got some frame rate dips. Reason are aware of this. We're going to be sorting that out. It's not too terrible, but it might affect you if you're in, say, VR. I've not tried it in VR yet. But currently, sitting here at 93 frames per second, there are certain parts of the track in clear weather where it dips down to, you know, between the high 70s and low 80s. Oh! Little bit of contact there, slight bit of contact from, is that the Red Bull car and the red car there? I think that's a Red Bull livery. I do have some liveries that are not available as standard in this sim, just in case you're wondering. Oh! Nearly ended up on the curbs there. Please excuse my terrible driving. I have already given you the disclaimer that I'm not brilliant with these cars. But this is so much fun. It's just brilliant.
Gaining on the car in front.
And since I've figured out, you know, letting them run a qualifying thing. Oh no! There's those. That's what happens if you hit those curbs. I've totally mucked up. Ascari there.
You've used half your fuel.
And I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. I can't wait to try a really long endurance type race here. Just look at it, it's fantastic. And the historic tracks as well. I haven't got enough time to cover those in this video, but they're amazing, you know. Great for the older type Formula cars, 70s Formula 1 cars, that sort of thing. But yeah, I definitely say if you've not got the season pass and you were thinking should I buy Monza or not, yes, I think so, but don't take my word for it. Go online, find someone who's running a server, try it out for yourself. It's having this now has given me back my love of Monza. Like I said, I lost it for several years. It hasn't been my favourite track, but I did like it a lot in GTR2. Don't go onto the curb, but I didn't completely go over it this time.
kilometres now.
Right, can we
3.3
catch up? We're not close enough to activate DRS, that's for sure, but can we catch up?
That's 2 minutes left, 2 minutes.
I'm quite happy with that, didn't make too bad a job of the parabolica there. You will find with 0% aggression, the cars will give each other a little more room.
Sector 2 is
They're just
off the
not
pace.
so prone to contact, which is a good thing. That's about as late as I dare brake, and got a slight loosening at the back end of the braking there, but we've caught up. Question is, are we close enough to get DRS?
P15.
Hanging down. Gear changes in these cars are so fast. Right, yes, this is where we need to be. And our DRS is in yellow. Means it's going to become available very soon. Oh no! I think I may have just ever so slightly nudged his back end, but such a light touch, I haven't got any damage. Maybe I just shouldn't have activated the DRS being that close to the back end of his car. He is slipstreaming the guy in front. We'll stand back then, can we take it? Oh no, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. That was a bad idea. But DRS is available again. And we're just far back enough to be able to swing out and use it. There we go!
One more lap to
Oh,
go.
that acceleration! The extra speed you pick up.
Well done, Paul. Nice move, mate.
The other thing that's been updated, by the way, the AI have been updated in general with this last build and patch. In general, at other tracks where, obviously there are tracks in the game that have been around longer, so the AI are sometimes better at those tracks. But in general, the AI have improved. Their overtaking is much better. However, there is one thing which is a bit of a big thing with me. They're still far too slow as soon as it starts to rain. Obviously all the cars slow down, including yourself, when it starts to rain because it's wet. But I mean, even after you've changed tyres, they slow down in the rain to the point where they lose about 10% of their skill. So I would like that, see that brought more in line with their skill in the drive, because for me there's no point in using no point in using changing weather, because I know if it starts to rain I'm going to start gaining places far too easily. But apart from that, in general, much better. And we are about to cross the line. DRS activated, flying past, there we go, 13th place.
Well done, mate. Good finish.
13th. The day I was born on, so I'm very happy with that. So there you go. Is Monza worth it? Definitely. No brainer, no question. I'd like to do some videos on some of the historic content, depends whether I get time or not. But with the AI improvements in general, and the fact that this is going to be updated again. Obviously, the other thing I forgot to mention, we haven't got the new classic BMW yet. They want to just spend a little bit more time working on that. Some people have been moaning about that on the forums. I'm thinking, no, I'm quite happy for you to, if you don't think it's right yet, you know, get it polished. Quite happy for that to happen. Anyway, I think you've seen all you need to see. If you want to try this combo, you've seen all my settings. Just remember, if you're going to use 200% damage like I'm using, you know, lower that aggression slider, let them run a qualifying session. That was brilliant. Thank you, Reza. I'm well happy. Hope you guys are all having a good time. Oh, and by the way, if you're liking my videos and you want to help us out, really would help me out if, well, here you go. If you want this channel to survive, do me a favor and hit subscribe. May seem like a small thing to do, but it enables me to make more videos for you. By hitting that button, you can help us thrive. Drivers, keep this town alive. Don't cost nothing, don't take no time. Come on now, keep this town alive.